Well, hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? Hopefully, you are having a wonderful, what is it, Wednesday? Wonderful Wednesday today. That's what I'm going with, anyways. Guys, I always say that. I can't keep track of the days anymore. I don't know what's going on. I think they all just are good, fun, crazy days, and they just fly by. So I'm happy you guys are all here joining us. Thank you so much. Let's see, where's everybody joining from? Oh, I see Belgium. Oh my goodness, Belgium, wow. But welcome in everybody, Trinidad. Where else, you guys? Let me know, where else are you joining us from? I would love to see and see some new people. Nika's from Arizona, welcome. Hopefully you're having a nice warm day down in Arizona, and probably a nice warm day down in Memphis too. Michigan, you're close to me, so I'm assuming you're getting a little bit of chilly weather. And LA, New York, Miami, Indiana. Awesome. Beauty school, Indiana. That's awesome. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully it is students joining us today at your beauty school, or educators, or all of the above. But you guys, wherever you are joining us from, welcome into our live stream today. I am so excited that you are able to join us. Israel and Barbados, Texas, Wyoming. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love it. I love seeing all of the different locations where everybody is. I love to see that we are able to share all of this education with so many people in so many different areas. So wherever you are joining us from, welcome. Let's get started on our demo. So today we're going to be doing, you guys, it's here. Winter is here. I woke up this morning. I'm in Minnesota. Young Nails is based out of Anaheim, California, but I work remotely sometimes from Minnesota. And I woke up to a little bit of snow flurries coming down. So today we're going to be doing a snow-inspired, kind of a snowy, icy inspired nail today. And we're going to be using our gels. So let me show you what we're going to be working with. We're going to be starting with our base gel. That's always kind of a staple when we're doing gels. I'm going to be also working with our clear sculptor in our precision applicator tube. And you guys, again, I'm not doing any more spoiler alerts, but we have been showing some love to the black opal gel. We've been showing some love to the pink opal gel. Today we're going to be showing some love to the white opal gel. So you guys, if you haven't seen this yet, it is, again, I'm not doing spoiler alerts anymore. You're on your own with that. But this is in our gel mystery box. It's actually a larger size. I just have a sample size that I've been using, but it is the larger, I believe it's the 60-gram size that comes in the mystery box. It also comes with the pink opal gel and the black opal gel, but today we're going to be using the white opal, and it is absolutely gorgeous. You guys, camera does not do this justice. Like, even if I zoom in, you can kind of see that pearly shimmer, but it is so beautiful in person. So you guys, you got to get the mystery boxes to see how beautiful this really is. So we're going to be working with that. We're also going to be doing, oh, you guys, I almost forgot. I have these over on the side. We're going to be using our liquid art, and today we're going to be using the blue liquid art. And you guys, liquid art is a colored monomer, so it's actually an acrylic monomer, but I'm going to show you how to use it with our gels. So we've got that. We do have two other colors. We've got the red and we've got the yellow in the liquid art. Let me come back a little farther here so you can see. But today I am going to be using the blue for our design. So we've got those, and we've got our glitters. You guys, in honor of our snowy, icy nail today, we're going to use weather delay, which is something that we tend to have here in the Midwest when it gets cold and snowy. Sometimes we have weather delays for school and work and all that. But this is a really pretty icy blue, kind of a mylar. So we've got that. And oh, looks like somebody got the gel mystery box and it's delivered tomorrow. Enjoy that mystery box. You are going to love it. We are also going to be using from the mystery box. And you guys, I can't remember, moderators, if you can help me out here, maybe give me the insight. I can't remember if this glitter comes in the acrylic mystery box or the gel mystery box. I'm kind of drawing a blank on that. But this is one that does come in one of the mystery boxes. And this one is Stellar Silver. And you guys, you can see they're big chunky confettis with that silver holographic reflective color. And you guys, what you're seeing, all of that different color that you're seeing on there, that actually does reflect. So it's beautiful. It's going to go with any color combination, but we're going to be using that. And I think that is about it for what we're going to be using today. So let's go ahead and get started on our nail. Let me kind of set some things aside so I don't drop or spill everything. All right. Oh, looks like a lot of you ordered those mystery boxes. You guys, I'm seeing that in the chat. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you haven't received yours yet, you're going to love it. If you have received it, I'm assuming you already love it. So enjoy those mystery boxes. If you guys are new to our channel, first of all, hit that subscribe button. But please note that we are having a huge Black Friday sale on our website, youngnails.com. Everything is at least 30% off, so make sure to jump over there, get all the good deals on literally everything that I'm using today is available on the Young Nails website. So hop over there, but let's get started on our nail. Just like I was starting to do, I'm going to push back the cuticles. We're going to grab our electric file, and I've got an older sanding band on there that I was using on our demo yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago now, I guess that was. I'm going to remove that, because these are a one-time use tool. So those sanding bands are in there. You want to use those one for your client, and then throw it away. Get a clean, fresh one for every new client. Couple of different reasons. First of all, these are not sanitizable and disinfectable. They will kind of break down if you get them wet. They'll start to kind of peel away. So you don't want to soak them in, even clean them in soap and water or soak them. They're going to break down. But also after use, it's just like using your regular hand files. You guys, these will kind of break down a little bit. The grit gets worn off. Same thing with your sanding bands. They will wear off, so you want to make sure that you're changing those out, okay? All right. What we have on here, though, this is our Mandrel. Now, this is something that can be sanitized and disinfected and should be sanitized and disinfected. So this one, it doesn't have any grit to it. That's why you do need that sanding band to put on there, but remove this and replace this after every client. That Mandrel, sanitize and disinfect after every client. Okay. Kelly Walker says, I love your nails. They look very nice. Thank you. On, what was it, Monday, I think, we did a demo showing you guys how to do this design. I used some different colors on Monday. I actually have them right here. I used more fall colors with those on Monday. So you guys can go back and rewatch that video and see how I did the design that I've got on my nails, but just with a different color. So you guys, all of these videos that we do here live, we do repost them, so you can go back and watch them again, or if you miss the live streams, you can go back and you can watch them again. All right, let's get our nail prepped. And I'm going to turn my electric file to about 5,000 RPMs. I always like to say low and slow when you're prepping. So 5,000 RPMs, we're just going to come right up around that cuticle, and I'm basically making contact with my bit and just kind of moving in kind of a circular motion, or actually more of like a half circle. So a half circle, half circle, half circle. Okay, so just kind of light little motions right up around that cuticle, and you can see where I've started filing. I just start right down here, kind of come up and over to the side. I'm not trying to come all the way down from here. A lot of times what people end up doing is if they try to start all the way down in this corner, they tend to notch out this corner right here. Let me show you, I'll just show you on this nail here. A lot of times what happens is they'll come in here and they'll accidentally catch that natural nail right there. And again, they leave kind of a little indent right there, okay? So that's why I always recommend starting up farther a little bit more, just right up into that corner. Come up and around, and once you get around that cuticle, you're going to have your bit at kind of a diagonal position to the nail. All you're going to do at that point, leave it in that diagonal position, and then you're just going to kind of feather through that nail. So I'm just kind of making contact, pulling my bit across, making contact, pull across, make contact, pull, make contact, pull, make contact, pull. Now, as you get a little bit more comfortable with the E-file, you're going to be able to work a little bit faster. So if you are a beginner, just work on getting that technique down. Slow your handpiece down, but the more you practice, the easier it's going to get and the faster you can go, okay? Now, if you do have areas maybe down on the side down here that you missed, just take the top of the bit, so that just kind of this part of the bit right up top here, position that right at the side, and pull forward. Same thing on the other side, but now we're going to use the base of the bit. Just touch and pull forward. So that's going to get right down along those sidewalls, right through those edges, and you'll be good to go without notching out those little corners like I showed you on that. Okay? All right, we are going to grab our manicure brush. We're going to dust this nail off. We want to make sure that we get all of that dust off before we even cleanse this with our swipe. Now you guys, the reason that I go through and actually take a couple of seconds to brush off this nail is because if we were to leave, you guys see all this extra little dust that's on the nail? If we were to leave that on there and then go into our cleanser, what happens when you mix water and sand or water and dirt? You get mud, right? Same thing is going to happen. If we leave all of that dust on our nail and just go in with our cleanser, we're never really going to fully be able to cleanse off all of that dust because it's just going to kind of create mud on the nail. So if we remove as much dust as we possibly can, and then we can grab our swipe, and swipe is the blue liquid in the pump bottle here. It says swipe. And we'll just pump a little bit of the swipe onto our manicure brush. And now we can go through and really cleanse the nail. And what the swipe is going to do is it's going to take off any of those last tiny, tiny little particles of dust. It's also going to kill any germs and bacteria. And it's also going to start to pull off any of those excess oils that are in the surface of the nail. So as the swipe dries, you're going to start to see this nail go back to kind of a chalky look. You're going to be able to see that texture that we put into the surface. Now we didn't damage the nail, we just put a little bit of texture to the surface. So when you're working, especially with gels, you need either a tacky surface or a textured surface for your gel to adhere to. At this point, we do have a textured surface, but we still want to add a tacky surface to give it just a little bit better adhesion. And that's what our protein bond is for. Now, protein bond is not a primer. You can see on there, it is a bonder. Okay, so it's protein bond, not protein prime. Okay, so kind of the difference between protein bond and a traditional primer is that primers tend to have methacrylic acid, which, you guys, if you think about putting acid of any kind on your skin or your nails, to me that sounds a little dangerous. With protein bond, it has none of that methacrylic acid that primers do, but it does work as a bonder, or it works more like a double-sided tape. So once we put our protein bond, you're seeing the difference between where I have protein bond and where I don't. That area that I have the protein bond on is going to be sticky. And that's really the purpose of protein bond, is to just add that sticky layer. So anything that we put on top of this is going to really adhere much better. Okay, when we're doing our enhancements, either acrylic or hard gel, I always do 2 coats of protein bond to really just make sure that I've got great adhesion, a great even tacky layer over that whole nail. Now, one thing I do always like to point out, let me show you on this nail, because I don't need a 3rd coat of protein bond on our first nail here. But when I apply my protein bond, I always start in the center of the nail and work out to the sides, and then I work back towards that cuticle area. And what this does is this is going to help to keep me from flooding that protein bond into our cuticle area or into those sidewalls. You guys, I know I did say that it doesn't have that methacrylic acid in it. It doesn't have anything that's going to burn or itch or irritate the skin, but it is still a chemical. So you still want to make sure that you're working safely and keeping any of your product off the skin. So if you start at the center and work out to the sides, it's not going to flood that product into the skin or the sidewalls or that cuticle area or anything. So it's going to stay much safer. Okay? Alrighty, let's grab our forms. So I'm going to grab one of, these are just our regular standard sized forms. Now you guys, if you want those XL nails, we do have extra long forms. Let me show you those here too. So if you're wanting to do extra long nails, we got those extra long. The red forms are the extra long ones, so you can definitely use those as well. But for today, we're going to be doing just kind of an average, maybe a little longer of a nail, but not too crazy long. So the forms have this little tab in the center. I always take that out of the center, place that on the back of my form, And that's just going to give our form a little bit more stability so it doesn't just completely pinch together when I pinch those tabs together. So it just gives our form, again, a little bit more durability, more stability to it. So I'm going to pinch these two little silver tabs together. So there's one on either side. I'm just going to kind of roll that form over, pinch those two little tabs together, and I want to make sure that they're as even together as I can possibly get them. If they're lopsided or crooked, see, that one's not quite straight. So again, if they're lopsided or crooked, the nail that you create may be lopsided or crooked. Now something this minor, not a huge deal, but I am going to grab another form just to make sure that I've got a perfectly straight form, or as straight as I can get it. So same thing, take that little tab out of the center, pop that on the back. Again, take those two little silver tabs, roll your form over, pinch those together, close it together like you were reading a book. Do people actually read books these days, or we just have our Kindles? But pinch those together like a bookend, and then we can also open up that top perforation. That's going to be a little bit easier when you're putting this on a real client. Now on the trainer hand, you can leave that closed, but on a real client, you do want to open that up so that, let me just show you on my finger. So if I were to be putting this form on my finger, by leaving this open up top here, I have a lot more mobility. So, you know, if I was the client, I'm probably going to be sitting here, I'm probably going to be texting with my knuckle on my phone and all that kind of good stuff. So if we were to take those tabs up top there, pinch that down onto that finger and really solidify that on the finger, what's going to happen is if I were to go and do my little texting on my phone, when I bend that knuckle, it's actually going to pop that form away from my finger. Now, you guys, I just put cuticle oil on, so it's not really sticking to my skin, but most of the time you're not going to put cuticle oil on to start with. So make sure that you leave this top part open when you're working on a real client so that it doesn't pop if she bends her nail or bends her fingers, okay? Oh my gosh, you guys, looks like a lot of new people are joining us today. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new to our channel. Join our community for all of this great free education. Join our community. We love having you here. So welcome in. All right, one more time. We're going to take that little tab off the center, pop it on the back, pinch those two little tabs together as evenly as we can get them. Now, if you're going to be doing a stiletto or an almond-shaped nail, you can pinch the end of the form together nice and tight to a point here. If you are doing, I pinched it together, but if you're doing more of a square, you can definitely leave that end a little bit more open so it gives you more of a tube rather than kind of a point to the end of that form, okay? So just a couple of little techniques there. Again, we're going to open up that top perforation. I'm going to bring my form up under the nail. So you guys, I'm not just going to take my form and try to shove that up under the nail like that. If I try to do that and put pressure into that skin underneath the nail, that's going to be kind of sore and painful for your client. You don't want to be pushing the form into what's called the hyponychium. That's that little skin that connects our natural nail to our nail bed. So we don't want to be just shoving that form up underneath there. What we want to do instead is if we come at a slight angle downward, so if we take a look from the side, we're going to be kind of coming in at an angle like this, okay? So slight downward angle, just catch that natural nail, okay? So just catching that free edge a little bit, and then if we rock that form up, so just kind of bring that form up until it comes straight out from the nail, that's going to secure it all the way underneath that nail. We're going to stick that down on the sides. And now if you take another look from the side, do you see how that form comes nice and straight out from the free edge? It's not angled downward, it's not angled upward, it's just basically coming straight out, okay? Now another thing that I want you guys to see is if we take a look at our form here, do you see how it's kind of wide and it looks almost puckered on the sides, like it's kind of pushing out on the sides? If we come in from underneath here, or even underneath like this, kind of pinch that form a little bit more together underneath so we have a little bit more of a taper all the way through that form. That's going to give us that really nice tight C curve, and it's going to really secure that C curve into place, and we're not going to have a wide looking flared out kind of a nail, okay? All right, let's grab our gels. So we're going to start with, we've got our clear sculptor in the tube, and then we've also got our base gel. So the clear sculptor in the tube is what I'm going to use to create my extension. So right now, all I'm going to do is build out my free edge. And again, using that clear sculptor in the tube, I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit of that gel. Oops, there's a little bit of an air bubble in there. Make sure if you do get that little air bubble, kind of just poke into it, pop that air bubble so it doesn't stay on the nail. And then I'm just going to use the nozzle to kind of guide my gel from one side to the other, connecting to that natural nail all the way over to that corner. And then I'll start to just kind of feather that product down the length of the nail. I'll squeeze out just a little bit more here in the center if I need more. But you guys, we're not trying to build up a lot of thickness at this point. We want to leave some room to add in our colors and our design work. And then we'll build the rest of the structure over this, over the top of this. But for now, just keeping it nice and thin. You guys, what I grabbed is just a little ceramic tile. It's nothing fancy. It's just something you can probably get at your local hardware store. But I like to use this ceramic tile to help keep my brush clean. So I'm going to grab my, guys, this is our new Pro Gel Sculptor. It is a size 5. You can see that right on the handle there. But, okay, the fun part about this brush is definitely that bling up on top. But the other great part about this brush is that it comes apart like this. So you've got that part up here that's going to be your brush cap to keep your brush nice and clean. But then if you turn the brush around, slide that on the back end, and that's your brush handle now. So just makes things nice and easy. I'm just going to use that tile, wipe out my brush onto the tile. Make sure to keep that nice and clean. And then I'm just going to kind of check my free edge here. Make sure that I don't have any gaps in my product. Make sure that I've got good even coverage all the way through. I'm going to wipe out my brush again. I'm going to kind of turn that nail on the side, and now I'm going to use the edge of my brush to just draw that product straight back and create a nice straight lower arch. Okay, I'm going to just blend in that product a little bit onto that natural nail. Wipe out my brush, clean out my brush. Same thing on the other side, turn that nail on the other side, and we can do the same thing. Use the edge of the brush, just pulling that back, bringing that product straight back into that corner. Okay, you guys, all the way back up into this little corner here. Do you see how my product is coming really just basically from this corner straight out to the point of that extension? That's exactly what we want. Okay, at this point, I'm going to pop this into our curing light. You guys can see I've got my light over here on the side of the table. Let me get that in there, and then I'll really kind of show you what I've got going on here. So that is one of our new Bling lights, and I actually have 2 of them on my table. So I've got this one on the right side here. I've got my second one over on the left side. Now, if you guys are working in salon, if you're actually working on clients, it's great to have both of these lights, because that way, here, if we come in the center, your client you can be working on both hands. This one can go into this light over here. This one can go into the light on the other side. You're not going to have to crisscross hands or anything like that. Super, super easy. So we just did a quick 30-second cure on that free edge. And all that's going to do is it's just going to kind of set that product into place. Now, because we only did a 30-second freeze on there, we haven't completely cured it all the way through, but that's okay, because we're going to be continuing on and doing a couple other layers on this nail. So the next layer is going to be our base gel. And when we apply our base gel, we're going to freeze this one into place for 30 seconds. And as we freeze this layer, this first layer is going to cure for an additional 30 seconds while we cure the base, and that's going to give it that full cure of 60 seconds. So at the end, we are going to cure everything for a full 60 seconds. So as you're layering on these different layers, it's okay. They are going to fully cure all the way at the end. Lauren is asking, can someone let me know the link to purchase items, please? You guys, everything that I'm using here today is by Young Nails. So youngnails.com is our website. Head over there after our live demo here, and we've got our huge Black Friday sale going on. So everything is at least 30% off. Even more on the blowout deals and the what do we got? Mystery boxes and other awesome deals we've got going on here, guys. So make sure to check those out. Okay. All right, our base gel that I'm applying right now is just a very thin layer. You can see as I'm applying that, I'm using a good amount of pressure. I'm not floating my product with this, with the base base gel. Okay, I'm actually really using some pressure to kind of get that gel all the way down into the little, I always call it the little nooks and crannies of the nail. So really making sure that that gel adheres well. Okay, so I'm also going to take just a tiny little bit more of that base gel, and I like to just kind of drizzle that right through where that natural nail connects to that free edge. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to ensure that my free edge, my natural nail free edge, is bonded to that extension, but it's also going to give a little bit of a smoother transition so I don't have kind of a ledge right through that connection area. Okay, so just a little extra thing I do. You don't have to, but again, we're going to get this back into our light for another 30-second freeze. And you guys, while that is in the light, let me show you this really quick. So on the back display of our light here, actually, let me set my camera down here so you can see. So we've got a 15-second timer, 30, 60, and 90 seconds. You'll see basically when I hit the button, oops, let me hit the button, you'll see it'll start the timer. Oops, let me hit the button again. Okay, so it'll start the timer, it'll count it down. When it gets to 0, it'll turn the light off. You also see right now I actually have my light plugged in, so it is charging. The battery is charging as we're working, but you can unplug them and use them as a cordless unit. Okay, so some great options with the light. If I come in nice and close, you can see on that 90-second timer. So first of all, the 90-second is a gradual cure. So that is going to start at a low power and then gradually raise in power to cure fully. So if you've got those clients who are a little bit more sensitive to maybe a heat spike with their gels, you can start on that 90-second timer and it's going to cure them a little bit slower so they don't tend to have that heat spike. And let's see, one other thing I was going to tell. Oh, let me show you one more time. I don't know if you saw this or not, but on that 90-second timer as well, it's got a little picture of a volume or a sound indicator. That is actually for the timer beep. So there is an option to turn the beep on. So if you want to hear when the light is done, you can turn that timer on or that beep on, or you can turn it off. On this light, I have it turned off. On my other light, I have it turned on. So you guys will hear that after a while when we do our full cure on that light. So I'm just going to remove my form. So just pinching that form together underneath, take that form off. Now, I'm actually going to set that hand off to the side because we've got some mixing to do here. So again, you guys, I'm going to put my base gel away for now. I'm going to grab that white opal gel. Again, this is from the Gel Mystery Box. So that white opal gel has that kind of hint of gold shimmer, kind of a pearl to it. Looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to use my tile here, and you know what? I'm going to get my other tile just so you can see a little bit better. This one isn't that stark white. Sometimes when I'm using the white tile, it's white on white and you can't really see it very well. So I'm going to use our other tile here. So what I'm going to do, we're going to mix a little bit of this white opal gel. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that, just scoop some of that up, and then we're going to just spread that right down onto our mixing tile. And then I'm going to take let me find it here, our blue liquid art. Now again, you guys, I was telling you earlier that this is a liquid monomer. So this is an acrylic monomer, but we are going to be mixing a little bit with our gel. So when you're using the liquid art, a couple of things you want to keep in mind. This little cap that comes on the bottle, make sure that when you're done using the eyedropper that you replace this cap. If you just were to leave the eyedropper in the bottle and screw that on, this will, it is kind of porous, or it will let air through, and your product will evaporate from the bottle. So always make sure that you replace that cap so it's got a good tight seal on there so that it doesn't evaporate on you. Okay, now the other thing to kind of note is there is a lot of pigment. You guys saw I got a little on my nail right there. If you do get that onto your skin, it can stain your skin, so be very careful. So I always really get a good grip onto my bottle so I don't accidentally knock it over. So I'm going to take just a little bit. So for our nail today, just a tiny little bit of that liquid art. I'm going to just drop one, well, I guess 2 drops on there. And I'm going to close up my bottle again so I don't spill that accidentally. Okay, let me come in here a little bit closer. So now I'm just going to take and just mix that together. You guys, look at already, it's starting to look really pretty. But that liquid art is just going to add that tint of color to our gel. And it is just going to make that white pearl a blue pearl now. So you can really customize, you can change up your colors. Like I said before, we've got red, yellow, and blue in the liquid art. So you can make pretty much any color you want from those 3 primary colors. Just make sure that you're getting a really good mix and that you don't see any kind of marbling to your gel, okay? You don't want to see any lines of that blue in there. You want to make sure that it's really well mixed. You can kind of see it still looks a little bit marbly right over here. So I'm just going to keep mixing, just kind of smearing that together until that is completely mixed in there. I actually have a little bit of white right on the front of my spatula, so I'll clean that off there and just keep mixing. Now you guys notice that as I'm mixing, I'm not bouncing. I'm not trying to kind of press like that. I'm doing more kind of smearing. And what this is going to do is this is going to help to really mix everything together, but it's going to keep any air bubbles out of my product, okay? If you do a lot of this kind of a technique, you're going to be introducing air bubbles into your product, and then you're going to be seeing those on your nail, which we don't want. So once we get all of that mixed up, I'm just going to kind of spread that out one last time just to really make sure that I don't have any air bubbles in there. And then you guys, you can see how beautiful that shimmer is with just that tiny little hint of blue, kind of that icy look, okay? And you guys, I think just for one last little hint of color, I wasn't really planning on doing this, but I think I'm gonna add it in just a touch. I've also got one of our gel polishes. This is Bromance. This is a beautiful purple. So you could use this the same way as the liquid art. You can just add a tiny little bit of that gel polish, and I think this is going to deepen that up just a little bit. You don't have to add this in if you don't want to, or you can use the gel polishes to create custom colors with your gels. Whichever route you want to go, you guys, be creative. Add that in. I think just that little tint of purple just kind of added just a little bit to our icy blue, just kind of deepened it up just a hair. So I'm just going to kind of mix that in a little bit, and then we'll scrape that together. All right, you guys, what do you think? Are you liking that blue so far? Somebody says it's a shimmer blue, perfect for Christmas. You guys, Christmas? I guess I tend to go a lot more with the reds and greens for Christmas. This is making me think winter, but whatever your interpretation is, I love it. Try it out and let me know what you think. You guys, if you ever do try our designs and use our live streams here for inspiration, and you post pictures of your nails, make sure you guys tag us, tag Young Nails, because we want to see what you guys are creating with this. Jessica says it looks like Elsa from Frozen. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing today. We are doing a very cold, very icy kind of a nail today. So yes. All right, I am gonna stick with that blue combination that we have here. I'm also gonna go back to my white opal. We're gonna use both of these colors here today. So I am gonna grab my other tile. I'm gonna set this one over to the side here. And I'm going to use this tile here to clean my brush out. So that's going to be my cleaner tile. And then I'm going to use my little mixing tile down here for our color. So we're going to grab a little bit more of that white opal gel. Just take a little scoop of that. And I'm just going to start to kind of swirl both of these colors together. So I'm just going to kind of press that gel down a little bit, kind of bounce my brush a little bit so it kind of releases. And then I'm going to work in a little bit of a circular motion to get that product right up around my cuticle area. And then just really making sure I get right up there. And then just kind of fading that out, blending that out a little bit. Oops, got a little bit on that cuticle area. You guys, if you do accidentally get product on the skin, make sure you use an orange wood stick or a clean cuticle pusher or something to remove that right away so that you aren't keeping uncured gel on your client's skin. Always be as safe as you can, okay? Just gonna kind of fade that out a little bit. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that blue mixture. We'll kind of fade this in. You can kind of marble it together however you want, kind of blend it. Oh, I love that blue, you guys. What do you think? Throw some blue hearts in the chat if you're liking the blue. I would love to see what you guys think. And you guys, my camera just seems at the weird angle here. Let me just readjust really quick. There we go. I think that might be a little bit better view. Okay. And again, I'm just going to kind of blend these colors together a little bit. Maybe just kind of so that they're not quite so stark next to each other. Just kind of wiggling my brush through that. Just kind of blending them. Kind of pulling some of that white into the blue. Giving it a little bit more, again, of that icy look. Just going to kind of tuck a little bit more of that product right around my sidewalls here, getting it again as close as I can without touching that skin. Just kind of feathering those together. I think maybe a little bit more of that white down into here. I'm seeing some blue hearts in the chat, you guys. That shows me that you're enjoying this, so that makes me super happy. So you guys, I love to see that you're enjoying our live streams. I love to see that you guys are enjoying this inspiration. And hopefully you guys are having fun with this design, because I know I am. Oh my gosh, you guys, what do you think? Are you loving it? I am loving this. I love how that blue and the white are just kind of coming together. Everything's just looking really icy and that frozen look. I love it. All right, I think we are gonna set this back into the light. I'm just gonna kind of check my edges, making sure I've got color all the way down onto the sides. All right, I think I like that. We're gonna get that back into the light. I'm gonna go in for a 30-second freeze again. So on this light, again, I already have the timer set for 30 seconds. So when I put that hand into the light, it's gonna go on for 30 seconds, it's gonna count it down, and then when that 30 seconds is done, the light's gonna turn off. So we will always know when that is ready to go. And always make sure you keep your gels and your brushes and everything away from that light so that you don't accidentally cure them in the jar. Let's see, Nails Minneapolis just got here. What's the blue? The blue mixture that we have here, that was our white opal gel. And we also added in a little bit of our blue liquid art into that. So just a tiny little drop, just a drop of that blue liquid art into that nail, or into that gel. So our light did turn off, so we are ready to move on. All right, you guys, so we've got our blue and our white. Now we need just that icy look. So that's where our Mylar and our confettis are gonna come in. Let me come back out just a little bit. So our Mylar, again, is kind of that blue icy look. And you guys, you can either take this and kind of sprinkle a little bit onto your mixing tile and use it from there. Otherwise, you can use it directly out of the jar. Just kind of depends on how you feel like working. Same thing with your confettis. And a lot of times, just like what is in here, I will actually take a little bit of those confettis, just kind of sprinkle them out into the top of my container, or again, you can use them on your mixing tile here, however you're comfortable working with them. And we're gonna go back to our base gel. So that base gel that we used to start the nail, we're gonna do a thin layer of that. I'm gonna clean out my brush here really quick, get all that blue and that white gel out of the nail. We're gonna come in, scoop out just a little bit of that base gel. And let me come in so you can see. I'm just gonna brush that gel over. I'm not using a lot of pressure with my brush, but just a little bit, just enough to get a nice even layer of that gel over my color. Just enough to kind of wet the surface. I'm gonna wipe out my brush, clean out my brush. We're gonna grab some of that Mylar and come out just a little. Grab some of that Mylar, and I'm just gonna kind of set some of those down into that wet gel. You guys, you don't have to cover the whole nail. You can kind of do bits and pieces wherever you want to see a little bit of that icy look. Just kind of touching that Mylar with my brush, Kind of letting that little bit of gel that's in my brush pick that up. And then, again, just kind of placing that wherever we feel like we want it. Clean out my brush again, make sure I get rid of all those little pieces of Mylar. And then let's grab our confettis. And you can grab a bunch of these, or if you just kind of want to place a few of them here and there, again, just kind of touching the brush to that confetti, setting that down into the wet gel. You guys, sometimes I'll grab my orange wood stick if I feel like I want to really get that pressed down into the gel. Maybe it's kind of poking out on the sides. I can use that orange wood stick to really secure that down in there. And however much bling you want on that nail, add till your heart is content. And if you decide that you've got enough on there, let's see, do we have enough on there? Yeah, let's see. Let me kind of move some of these things around. Sometimes I need to, I'm a very visual person, I will always say this, but sometimes I need to move those confettis around, move things around until I really feel like I like the positioning of them. Because sometimes as you're working, maybe you set it down onto the nail and it's like, well, I like that, but maybe it's not quite where I want it placed. Feel free to move those around. Oops, that was a one on top of there. So, all right, I think I am liking that. Somebody's saying they're looking too uniform. Where else do we want to put them? You guys let me know. Do we want more on the left side over here? Do we want more on the top? Never enough glitter. You guys, I love your thoughts on this. Maybe we'll add a little more of that Mylar in there then. Let's see. Maybe just another couple of pieces right up in there. Okay. I think I'm liking that. I think maybe just a little bit more. I always say, I think I like it, and then I add one more last little thing, and then I love it. So I think I love it now. Well, maybe one more right down there. Okay, now I love it. We're going to get this into the light again, freezing that back into place. So we can cap up our confettis, we can cap up our glitters, put those off to the side. Now at this point, we are going to build the rest of the structure to this nail. And you guys, if you haven't already, while this nail is curing, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get all of this great free education, join our community, be a part of the Young Nails crew. We love having you guys here with us every time. Now at this point, you guys, those of you that join me in a lot of our live streams here, a lot of times I choose to use the Build Pink to cap my dimensional designs because I always feel like the Build Pink kind of tends to give just a little bit more color reflection. Now, today is going to be a little bit different. Because I'm using a white gel, I want to make sure that I'm keeping that white a little bit more pristine. So today I'm going to go back to our clear Sculptor that we started with. That's what I built out my extension with. So I'm going to use the clear Sculptor today to encapsulate this whole design. So again, normally you guys see me use the Build Pink because I love the light reflection it gives. I love the magnification that it gives, and it kind of tends to brighten a lot of your glitters and your colors. But again, today I want to make sure that I'm keeping that white under there nice and white, that I don't have that little bit of pink tint to it. But I am going to apply this pretty much the same way that I applied the Build Pink. Start at that cuticle area, kind of work that product in a circular motion up around that cuticle, and then just start to pull that forward. Now the difference between the Build and the Build Pink and the clear Sculptor that I'm using now is that the clear Sculptor tends to be a little bit thicker. So you can see with this one, it doesn't level and self-level and move as much as the Build Pink does. So I can definitely work a little bit slower if I feel like I need to, or I can really kind of perfect my application a little bit more, and it's not going to run quite as fast. It is still going to self-level a little bit, but I have a little bit more time to work with it and move that product around. So I'm just kind of pulling that all the way down, capping all the way to that free edge, making sure I've got everything covered, making sure I pull that little piece of fuzz out of that, because we definitely did not need that fuzz in there. I'm going to grab just a little lint-free wipe. I want to clean out that little bit of Mylar that was still stuck in my brush. Now at this point, I'm just going to use my brush just to kind of touch up, maybe get a little bit more product a little bit closer to my sidewalls here. just creating that really good coverage. Checking my edges, making sure everything is coated around the edges. Sorry guys, let me come out a little bit here. Whoops, there we go. Just making sure everything is as good as I can get it. But you guys, I am gonna come back and check this nail. So I'm gonna kind of set this product into place. I'm gonna freeze that into place, and then we will just do a quick 30-second freeze, and then we will kind of check it, make sure that our proper structure is in there, okay? And you guys, I'm gonna tell you, working with these confettis, it can be tricky because I actually, as I was putting on my clear Sculptor, I was really getting a lot of light reflection from these, and it was having actually kind of a hard time seeing the surface of my gel. So that's why I got this into the light, set it into place. Now I can actually look from maybe a different angle, turn that on the side, making sure that I've got enough product. Looks like it's maybe just a little bit flat. So I'm going to turn from the free edge here, and I'm going to add just a little bit more product right down the center of the nail. This is kind of what I tend to do with most applications. I do tend to add a little bit more right down the center just because of how I do my initial application. It does tend to kind of level out in the center area. So I usually do tend to add one more little line right down the middle to really build up that arch. And you guys, as I'm applying this, I am kind of turning that finger. I'm kind of looking from the side view so that I can see what that arch is looking like. And I'm kind of pulling some of that product back up into my arch because I want my free edge nice and thin and tapered. And I think that's about where we are at. So now I'm going to go into my other light. All right, now you heard that beep. I hope you guys heard that beep. Let me come back out here. So on my light on this side, I do have this light set to the 60-second timer. And you guys, for me doing demos, it's just easier to have this one set to the 60 and then my other one over here set to the 30 so that I just know and I don't have to reset the timer every time. But you did hear this one beep. So this one I do have that beep timer turned on. It's an option. You can either turn it on or off, just depends on how you like to work. So this one I've got it turned on, so I always know that my nails are going to be cured in that, and we're good to go. So I'm just going to kind of wipe out a little bit of that extra gel out of my brush, reshape my brush a little bit more back to a point, cover up my brush. You guys, it's always important that you clean up as you go so that you're not having your gels sitting out or having your brush sitting out, because those can get dust in them and get contaminated, and you definitely don't want to do that. Now you probably heard that beep, so that means that our 60 seconds is done. All right, you guys, even before we do any filing, look at how pretty that reflection is. Oof. What do you guys think so far? Are you liking it? Let me know in the chat if you're liking it so far. But what we need to do before we actually file on this nail is it does have a little bit of a tacky surface, and that is normal for gel. All we're going to do is take our swipe, the same swipe that we used to cleanse the nail before. I'm going to take a little bit of that on our lint-free wipe, and we're going to come in here, and I am going to cleanse that nail really well. Now you guys notice that as I cleanse this nail, I don't actually scrub the nail back and forth, okay? The reason for that is that tacky surface is actually uncured gel, and you want to make sure that you're not pushing that uncured gel back to where it would come in contact with your client's skin. So that's why you saw what I did is I kind of wiped and pulled that wipe forward. I fold my wipe over, and then I give it a second wipe just to really make sure that all of that tacky surface is completely off, okay? I'm gonna make sure my nail is clipped down in here. Feels good there. I am gonna grab my dust collector. Let me come back so you guys can see what I got here. So this is our Bling dust collector. It is cordless. You can use it plugged in. It does have a cord that you charge it up with. So you can use it either plugged in or without the cord, whatever needs you have. And I'm going to grab my electric file. We're going to switch out our bits. So we started with our sanding band, and that was to prep that natural nail. Now we're going to switch over to our X-Cut carbide. I'm going to leave that out just a little bit. Oops. Leave that out a little bit. Now the reason that I leave that out is rather than, so I have that out a little ways, so again, rather than pushing that all the way in that far, if I left that bit all the way in, as I'm working and filing, actually let me lock that in so you guys can really see. So as I'm working and filing, if I left that bit all the way in and I get to about here, do you see how my handpiece is kind of inhibiting me from filing the proper arch that I need to? By leaving that out just a little bit farther, that's going to allow me more space so that I can file exactly where I need to and my handpiece isn't going to hit that nail. Okay, so let's turn on our dust collector and crank that all the way up to 10. Guys, it does have an adjustable setting. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera or not, but you can turn it down all the way down to 0, turn that off, or all the way up to 10. So just kind of depends on how, you know, how much you need that to pull the dust away. You can adjust that accordingly. My E-file, I'm going to turn up to about 15,000 RPMs. For a gel nail, I would say between 14 and 15 is about right. Okay. Now we are going to come in. Actually, let me come out just a little bit, get a little bit better focus there. All right, so I'm going to start by just straightening out my perimeter. So my perimeter is going to be my sides and my free edge. Now my free edge is going to end up as more of an almond shape to maybe a stiletto. We'll see how we feel on this one as we go. But I'm just going to straighten out my sides at this point. So pulling down on my left side, pushing back on my right side. I think we're pretty good. Again, just kind of creating almost a rough outline. I'm going to turn that nail on the side. Now I want to make sure that my product is coming straight out from that natural nail, and it is actually fairly straight. I'm just going to clean up that lower arch just a little bit so that it's coming a little bit more straight out all the way to the end. Turn that nail on the other side. This side has a little bit more kind of hanging off the edge. So this side, we're going to take a little bit more. This one we're going to pull down, straightening that out. Now you guys, you notice I don't get all the way back up into that corner, and that's okay, okay? I don't have to come all the way in there with my E-file. I'll come back in there and perfect that with my hand file. But this is just going to give us a little bit more of a rough outline so that we don't have as much filing to do with our hand file. Now, if we come in here from kind of the side view, back out just a little bit. I'm going to work right up around my cuticle area and get that cuticle area nice and thin and nice and tapered. Now you guys can see I've got that product is nice and flush down to that natural nail. Guys, I think the camera is having a hard time focusing on the lighter colors here, but we'll make do. We'll make do. So we're going to come down, right down the center of the nail. So just right down the arch of the nail, just kind of filing in our shape and filing in that arch. So we want to make sure that, let's see if I can come in. There we go. So we want to make sure that we have a nice thin and tapered cuticle area. We want to make sure that our arch and our stress area is a little bit thicker, and then nice and thin and tapered all the way down to the free edge. So you can start to see that really pretty arch coming into place. Just going to kind of come through, perfect that a little bit more. And I'm seeing a question in the chat, can blue food coloring be used to mix with the white opal gel, or would that affect the integrity of the gel? That is a great question. I'm sorry I missed the name on that, but great question. And the answer is no. You don't want to try to use food coloring or things like that to color your gels. They are not going to be, they're not going to work well with the chemistry of the gel. What I was using is an actual monomer, so that's why we can use it with our gels. But you don't want to just be trying to use things from the kitchen cupboard to mix into your gels. It's just not going to work, okay? So great question. I'm so glad you asked. But yes, please do not try to use food coloring and things like that in your gels. They're going to affect the chemistry of your product, okay? So at this point, come back. See if we can get a better view. There you go. So on my nail now, I'm looking straight down the barrel, and I'm just kind of pulling my bit down the sides to really thin out and taper in those sides, because before when we were looking from this view, we were just working down the center of the nail, right down the arch of the nail. Now we're just going to take down the bulk from the sides. Okay, once we have that bulk taken down, I'm going to kind of flow all the way through from the side, all the way up, all the way back down, just lightly moving my bit all the way through to really get that really nice contour. And you guys, it's not quite focusing. The camera tends to grab what it wants to grab and focus on what it wants, but you can see that kind of that start to our shaping here. Okay? Now I am going to switch our bit. I'm going to change from my X-Cut carbide here. You guys, let me try cleaning our camera lens here. Hold on just a second, bear with me. See if that helps at all. So again, I took out the X-Cut carbide. We're going to switch back to that sanding band, same sanding band that we used to start and do our prep. Now I'm going to turn my speed down to about 7,000 RPMs. And this way we're going to come just same thing, right through all of those same steps that we were doing before, right around that cuticle, right down the arch. And this is just going to help to refine. So it's one last little step that I like to do before I actually go into my hand file, because I feel like it's just going to help to refine things just a little bit more. So really one less thing I have to do with my hand file. Okay? Now we're going to go in with the hand file. Let's see. Lena saying, is YN talking? I can't see it. I think we're still okay, but you guys let me know in the chat. Are you seeing and you're hearing everything? Let me know. And moderators, let me know too, just in case. So we're going to start our perimeter with our hand file. We are here. Okay, good. Straightening out our side walls. And you guys, as I'm filing, notice that my blue line down the center of the file is straight in line with my side walls, okay? That way I'm not going to be angling my file. I'm not cutting up into the corners. So use that blue line as your guide, okay? Straight along that side. Same thing over on the other side, straight along that side. Use that blue line as your guide. Okay? We're going to turn that nail on the side. We're going to clean up that lower arch. There we go. Keep again that file straight in line with the finger, making sure that lower arch is coming straight out. We're not angling in, we're not cutting into those corners, just coming straight out. Okay? Same thing on the other side. Turn that finger over on the side, coming straight out. Now you guys notice that as I'm filing underneath, I keep my fingers on top just to kind of give that nail a little bit of balance. If we were just filing under that free edge without putting a little pressure up top, what happens is I would be pushing up on that free edge. That's going to put pressure on the nail bed. So we want to always make sure that we're kind of counterbalancing wherever we're filing. Even when we're working on our sidewalls, you guys notice I always kind of put counter pressure on. So if I'm filing on the right side, I use my thumb to put counter pressure on the left. If I'm filing on the left side, I use my ring finger, put counter pressure on the right side. This way, everything is going to end up nice and straight. The nail's not going to wobble back and forth, and it's going to be a lot more comfortable for your client. Okay? All right, at this point, we're going to come up around our cuticle area. Again, just kind of contouring and kind of rounding out our sides, because when we file straight in on the sidewalls, we put a straight edge here. Now we want to round out that edge so we don't have a corner on our nail. Okay? So kind of up and over or down and around, whichever position or whichever motion works good for you, whatever's comfortable. Same thing on the other side, down and around or up and over. Rounding out and contouring those sides. Okay? So we got our shaping almost in there. I'm going to check that lower arch one more time over here. And I always like to turn that nail from the side view one more time. And I'm going to put pressure with my file at the free edge. So I'm just basically filing the free edge. I'm not filing with my file all the way back here, but I'm just going to file right at that free edge and kind of filing backwards. That's going to help to really taper in that free edge and just give us that really pretty tapered end so that we can actually still use our fingers and we can pick up that quarter that fell on the floor. Because if we don't taper in that free edge, it's going to be too thick and your clients or you are not going to be able to use your fingers properly, okay? Once we've got that, we're going to turn our client's hand around and we're going to look at our client's hands from how she's going to see it, because she's always going to look at her nails from this view, okay? So this is how we're going to look at those nails. We want to make sure that everything is nice and straight. So you're going to look at all 4 of those nails. You're going to look at the thumb separate, but look at all 4 of those nails. Make sure that they're all coming straight out, straight in line, okay? So we're going to take a look from here. I'm going to make sure that my sidewalls are nice and straight. Again, make sure over here. And really kind of adjust your point or your free edge, your almond shape, whatever shape you're doing. Fix that and perfect that from this view, okay? That's how you're going to be able to see if that's nice and straight and even. Then we're going to look down the barrel of the nail, so basically backwards down the nail, and I'm just going to kind of float my file all the way through. So I'm going from one side all the way up, all the way over, keeping my file in constant motion. This is how you're going to get that really nice, smooth finish. If you guys just kind of do, I always call it pecking at the nail. So if you just kind of peck and do those, one motion filing strokes, every time you hit that nail like that, that's going to put a flat spot. But if you keep that file in motion all the way through, that's going to make a nice, smooth, even surface all the way through, okay? So make sure that you are looking down the barrel, and let me see if I can come a little closer there. So as I look, I even will rock that finger up and down so that I can see all the way from the free edge all the way back to my cuticle. If I were to just look at the nail from here, all I can see is from the top of my arch back to my cuticle. Now if I rock it down or rock it this way, I can see all the way again to my free edge, okay? So make sure that you are seeing your nails from all of these different views. Make sure that you are perfecting from all the different views. All right, I'm gonna do one last quick check here. I'm gonna turn that hand back around. I just wanna check my lower arches really quick. Do you guys see how right here, let me come in nice and close, a little bit closer. You see how there's just that tiny little opening on the end? To me, what that tells me is that my lower arches still need to be filed just a little bit. So I'm gonna even these out. And once I get those nice and even out, just coming right underneath there, now you can see that little opening has basically closed up, okay? Just by evening out those lower arches, now my product comes all the way flush with my file, and I don't have that little opening on the end, okay? All right, I think we are good. Who knows what's next? You guys know, if you've been with us in our live streams before, you guys know what time it is. If you are new to our channel, first of all, it's time to hit that subscribe button, join our community, but it is time for our top coat. So go ahead and do our top coat chant in the chat. I'm gonna get my dust collector out of the way here. Again, you guys, if you're new to our channel, our little top coat chant is just kind of our fun way to end our stream. Just type in the words top coat, and join in the fun. I'm gonna dust off the nail, get all of that dust off of there. Got one last little corner that I see right here. Just gonna kind of clean that up. Whoops, let me get you back in camera here. And I think we're good there. Now, you guys, a lot of you may be asking, do you not buff the nail? And you guys, I don't. At this point, I don't need to buff the nail. And if I did buff the nail, if I'm using a gel top coat, which I'm gonna, if you buff the nail too smooth, that top coat has a tendency to chip off. All I'm gonna do instead is use a little bit of my swipe. We're gonna go through and cleanse the nail. And then we're gonna apply a coat of our protein bond. So that same protein bond that I used to bond our gel to the nail. Ooh, matte top coat. No, I don't think we're doing a matte top coat. But that same protein bond that we used to bond the gel to the nail, we're going to put this on the surface of our nail to bond our top coat. And again, this is why we don't need to use, or we don't need to go through and buff the nail. because our protein bond is going to take place of that. Okay, so we're going to do our protein bond. And you guys, moderators are saying matte top coat. Yes, you could definitely do a matte top coat on this nail. And I know a lot of times people think that when you have glitters and colors and things like that, that you have to do a shiny top coat, but you don't. I think it was on Monday. We did kind of a half and half. It actually kind of happened by accident, happy little accident. But you can do matte top coats on these sparkles and things like that. But today, we're going to have our ultimate finish because I'm loving this color. I'm loving these sparkles with the shine. So let's do our ultimate finish top coat. All right, you guys, here is our top coat application. Get ready for the sparkles. And you're going to start to see that shimmer, that pearl in the blue. You're going to see that pearl in the white. You're going to see that hologram in our confettis. You got that icy look with our mylar in there. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is totally making me feel like it's winter and I'm not ready for it, but I'm ready for this nail. So let me get this into our light. Actually, you guys, I'm gonna get this into our 30-second light. So normally when you're using the ultimate finish, you wanna make sure that you are curing that for a full 60 seconds, but I'm just gonna freeze this into place so that you guys can see the final look without having to wait that extra 30 seconds. But you guys, again, make sure if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join our community here, and try out these beautiful winter nails with our white opal gel. Try to get a better view for you guys there. And you guys, I'm telling you, this opal, it does not do justice on camera, but especially looking on the sides here, you can kind of see that swirl in there, that icy look in there. Let me see if I can turn this around, see what's going to be a better. Let me come in. Oh, there we go. That's a much better view for you guys. Again, you can see up top here, you see that kind of pearl in the white, pearl down in the blue, all of those beautiful colors in there. So again, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you do try any of our designs, make sure you tag Young Nails so that we can see what you are doing and creating on your own. And if you haven't already shopped our Black Friday sale, make sure to jump over to youngnails.com. Everything that I have used today is there on sale, either in mystery boxes or in just regular stock, but everything is at least 30% off. So make sure you jump over there and find some good deals. Thanks everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon and we will see you back next time. Thanks everyone.